Hey guys, this is Alex, and welcome to the Two Dudes, Brews, and Reviews podcast. On today's episode, Austin and I are talking about the 2008 dark comedy and drama crime thriller, In Bruges. If you like what you hear, consider subscribing to the podcast, leave us a rating and review, and maybe even tell your friends about us. With that being said, we hope you enjoy the show.
Homie, I think we're set. I think we're ready to go.
Second time we're recording at your place.
La Casa.
We're recording this the day before New Year's Eve.
Yeah, we are, man. The holidays are coming to a close, thank God.
Yeah, thank fucking God.
I don't want to see my fucking dysfunctional family for another 6 months.
I know we kind of talked about it off the air briefly, but
Yeah.
Your Christmas was good, I assume?
Yeah, everything was great, man.
The turntable looks sick in here.
Yeah.
I don't know what else you told me about.
I got, oh gosh. I got fucking 4 bottles of bourbon. We got a bottle of Maker's Mark, Larceny, bottle of Four Roses, and a bottle of Woodford. Some cigars. Elizabeth, she did a great job. She got me I don't know if you check them, but I'm actually rocking a pair of Nikes. Look at me.
Nice.
I'm an American boy.
Those look like really comfy shoes, too.
Yeah, they're pretty comfy. I usually wear like just a pair of flat white tennis shoes, leather white, plain Jane, go with everything, or a pair of like black boots. She had a good Christmas. I fucking spoiled the shit out of her, and yeah, everything was good, man.
What did I get for Christmas? New headphones.
Yeah, you're rocking them.
No more audio issues, thank God. I don't think anybody listening would even know about the audio issues. Those usually get edited out of the episodes.
Yeah.
Many Criterion movies. Olivia got me a Twin Peaks shirt, which I was very happy about.
There you go.
I got this Talking Heads hoodie that I'm wearing right now.
Yeah, I was going to say something about that. Yeah, fuck yeah.
Which was really unexpected. I like the Talking Heads a lot, but I hadn't talked about them in a long time.
Did Liv get you that? Or
Yeah.
Yeah, good for you.
Liv got me some like really rare movies.
Really?
She'd like order them out of the country. Like some of them might be region locked.
Oh, for real?
Like the OG Suspiria.
Which that's kind of sick.
I was like, I haven't talked about this in a long time either.
Oh, you got an attentive woman, huh?
Yeah, she's great at giving gifts.
Yeah.
She usually outdoes me considerably.
You know, sometimes that's just how it is, man.
Overall, a good holiday.
Good.
I'm done being stressed, even though I don't even know why I was stressed in the first place. Usually my procrastination is like the number one thing.
Speaking of Christmas holiday, you have a gift in front of you that you need to open.
Yes. This is the third time we've done a gift opening
Yeah,
on the show.
I think so.
You know, I don't think we've ever exchanged gifts in the same night on the podcast, though. Like, usually,
you know, it's like, I'll bring one and then we got to do it next time or something.
Yeah. Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, so you can add to your list.
Dude, fuck yeah. I don't have this one.
Yeah.
So, Silence of the Lambs on Criterion Blu-ray edition.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Great film. We talked about it on the show 2 months ago.
I figured you would enjoy having that more than I would, because I think I don't want to touch it for a while.
It wasn't that bad in terms of the violent stuff. It was doable.
No, I read the book, man. It was nothing my imagination couldn't conjure up worse.
Thank you, by the way.
Yeah, no problem. I figured out of all the movies we did this year, I think that was one of my favorites.
Next time we're together, whether it's here or at my house, I got my stuff at home, and I think you'll be excited.
Yeah, I'm sure I will be. You always do a good job.
Thank you. I try.
We're talking about, this is your recommendation. You take the floor, brother.
Yeah. I figured since we wouldn't be able to get together in time for Christmas to do a Christmas movie, I chose a Christmas-adjacent film, the dark comedy drama by Martin McDonagh. It's 2008's In Bruges, the film about 2 hitmen hanging out in Belgium after a job gone bad. I think you're vaguely familiar with this trio of talent: Colin Ferrel, Brendan Gleeson, Martin McDonagh. We really liked Banshees of Inisherin.
Yeah, it was kind of nice to go back. I mean, this is fucking 15 years ago. It was like just as great in ways that were, you know, adjacent to chemistry, and obviously these two act very well together. It was nice having like Ralph Fiennes.
Is it Ralph Fiennes or Ray Fiennes?
Right. It's Ralph in here.
I know it's spelled that way.
R-A-L-P. I don't know, man.
It's like a British thing, I think.
Fucking Europeans and their O-U-R and all that shit they do over there.
In many ways, Banshees of Inisherin feels like a spiritual successor to this one. I was actually curious if you were going to like this. This is a very mean-spirited movie.
Yeah, the thing that it reminded me of the most, which I have not seen in many years, it's probably been 10 years actually. Well, I should never have watched it when I was as old as I was, but like the Boondock Saints.
I've never seen that
Oh
before.
man, you motherfucker, you'd love it.
Really?
Yeah, you'd love it.
I thought that was like a badly reviewed film, but like cult classic.
You'd love it.
I love Willem Dafoe, so
Yeah.
that's a plus already.
I would love to return to that one because I think I would like to explore that character a little bit more because he plays a fucking wild one. Yeah, it's wild.
It's no surprise at all.
Like a cross-dressing detective.
Oh.
Yeah, strange movie. But kind of the dirty, grimy hitman. I felt that to an extent. This reminded me of like John Wick if John Wick wasn't like blockbustered.
If you took the fighting out completely?
Yeah, it had a similar vibe. The secrecy, the underworld, the world of sin and tragedy and all that bullshit. That's always interesting to me.
This is a bleak film, for sure.
Yeah, and I wasn't really expecting that. When you say comedy, I'm like, oh, like this is going to be, it'll be similar to Banshees in terms of like the way humor is delivered. I got that. It was no big deal. But it was like, the subject matter was like just significantly more depressing than Banshees. Like Banshees is like a slow death. This one, it was like, in the first 20 minutes, it's like, I very quickly understood that like it was going to be fucking rough.
Yeah.
And then like it only got worse. In many ways. Like, by the way, I watched this movie inebriated, so my headspace was like, oh, okay, we're doing that.
Did you find comedy in it?
Yeah. I mean, there was moments where I'm like, oh, that's funny. Not like haha, but like humorous in terms of situational, when the room is completely different than what it should be, when the tone completely changes in the middle of like a very serious moment.
Yeah.
That happens a lot, where an extended conversation that is really about nothing in the middle of like a deadly hostage situation, or whatever the fuck.
There's many of those here.
And I enjoy that.
And I think it takes a skilled writer to be able to jump between tones just on a line-by-line basis.
I think part of it, what kind of did it for me too, was, it's like it's writing for sure, but like I think it kind of takes like some skilled actors to do that as well. Because like there really isn't a moment in the film where I like feel, when those shifts happen, I don't feel like I'm ever taken out of anything. It felt like very natural. The movie, like, also, like, can we kind of establish, like, I think one of the things that kind of helps with that, there's also like a film being shot inside the movie as well, which I think kind of helps add to like a level of like dream sequence, surrealism at certain points in the movie, where
during the final sequence especially.
Yeah, for sure. But there's like kind of a little bit of that sprinkled throughout the film, where I attribute it to like certain lines in the film too, where like the place is like fairy tale.
Yes.
Can we just establish like the first act is like literally like a documentary commentary through the characters of like, oh, like, and you got to go here and there, and like, oh, when you check out this, and they're giving you like a fucking tour.
Yes.
Of the town.
Bruges is a character in the movie.
Right.
And it's the perfect backdrop for this story as well. It's beautiful too. Like,
yeah.
I kind of wanted to go to this place.
Right.
Despite how much Colin Ferrel fucking hated it.
Well, before we get too far, I do want to mention we are drinking Bourbon County tonight, the infamous, rarely opened Goose Island Bourbon County.
Cherrywood
tonight. Yeah, it's a bourbon barrel aged stout. This one's from 21 that we've been holding on to. I think it was bottled in October of 21. So,
do you like it? I guess is the question of the day.
I like it better than the last time we had it, for sure.
Same. This is going down a bit more smoothly.
Smooth, yeah. I don't know what it was, and maybe it's the cherry, but the last time we cracked it open, it was so meaty. Too much coriander, I felt like. It tasted like a Slim Jim, and I couldn't get behind it at all.
I think my palate has also gotten a bit better
right.
since then. You got me drinking bourbon on the rocks now.
That's strange. You're the one that got me into old fashions, and it took me a minute, and now I'm like, we got to drink this shit plain as fuck. Like, I'll drink it neat if I have to sometimes.
If it's a good whiskey, then
right.
It's worth doing that. My mom got me some cocoa bitters.
Yeah.
I guess she got them when she was in Florida recently. And I can't wait to try those out. But I don't know what it works with the best.
Like cocoa bitters, like aromatic bitters.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's sick. That, you motherfucker, I'm jealous.
I can't remember if I've ever had a drink with cocoa bitters in it.
I don't think I haven't.
At least not a whiskey drink.
No. I'm going to pour a glass of bourbon here shortly after we drink this stout down a little bit. We got about half the bottle left.
I might have one too.
I'm not feeling obligated to drink this whole thing, though. It's not really my vibe tonight. I'm going to respect it, though, to a certain extent. We'll drink a good glass here.
I'll sip on it for a while.
It's a very, what's the alcohol? And I think it's like 11.
I wouldn't be shocked if it's more than that.
No. That's 14. So
Okay, that sounds right.
yeah, that's right. Back to the film. The way the film is introduced, I don't know what it is, but I fucking love the cold open to this film a lot.
Like the noir voiceover.
Yeah, but also like the typography, like the font used for the credits.
The snowy backdrop.
Yeah, it's God, I hate that I don't know more about formats, but it's like a widescreen. It's not. I feel like a lot of films right now are all like 35, like a square format. Everything is like very full. You need to fill the entire screen. There's no black border on anything. For some reason, this felt old for that reason. You know what I mean? Like it's from 2008. And I'm like, for some reason, the format, the frame itself, it felt like a hint of like modern nostalgia. You know what I mean? It reminded me of like being a kid and watching movies, like with my dad.
Really?
Like if it had that air of, I would not be surprised if my dad would show me this film. I don't think my dad's ever seen this film, but this seems like something right up his alley.
I don't think many people have seen this film.
No, I don't think so.
Not enough, at least.
It was a $15 million budget with a 34.5 box office.
Which isn't great.
No.
I think it's picked up steam a little bit over the years.
Right, from Banshees too.
I think it's when Martin McDonagh came out with the film 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri. Out of the 4 films I've seen by him, that's the one I don't really care for, from what I remember.
Yeah, it's got Frances McDormand.
I mean, good cast. Woody Harrelson, Peter Dinklage, Sam Rockwell. This guy kind of works with the same people on each film. It's usually a combo of like those 4 people.
Yeah.
Not including Frances McDormand.
7 Psychopaths? You've seen that, right?
I have. I've seen all 4 of his films. That one I think is a bit underloved. Most consider that to be his weakest effort, but I think there's a lot of interesting stuff going on with that
Really?
one. I rewatched it in the lead up to doing this.
Oh, okay.
It's a funny movie. And there's actually links between it and this thematically, too.
Is that the one where Christopher Walken's like, no. Like, he's like, no, I'm not gonna.
I don't feel like it.
Yeah.
There's ties between his character and Ken in this one in terms of like qualities of the character. And we'll get into that later.
Brendan Gleeson. The man's in Braveheart. Do you know that?
Never seen
Like
Braveheart.
when he's young. I know you haven't. And we need to eventually because I feel like it has to happen. I haven't seen it in many years. Like it's been a long time.
Do you think it would hold up?
Yeah. In many ways, I think you would enjoy it. I remember when the first time I watched it, I couldn't believe they showed like people getting like their arms cut off and shit. It's crazy.
Is that an R-rated movie?
Oh yeah, man. It's
Why did I think that was a PG-13?
no, man. It's a rough movie. It's people's throats get slit.
Oh man,
People get like dismembered and
I'm putting this in the queue ASAP.
torture and yeah, man, it's great. I can't wait for you to watch it one day. I mean, I think I would want you to watch it for the first time for the podcast.
I'll hold off.
It's not coming soon or anything like that, but I definitely want to. I think it probably will be a 24 recommendation at some point.
Mel Gibson will be an interesting topic to get to.
My cousin has been to Mel Gibson's house.
I think you've told me this before.
It's very strange. It was like a couple years ago. Don't really know whatever happened about that.
But he wasn't there, right? Like she didn't meet Mel Gibson.
I don't think so. I don't know.
Did she break in?
I don't know. I imagine there are many facets of Hollywood life where people are in your house when you're not there.
Oh, I'm sure. Like if you know like a maid or
Right.
something,
Yeah.
like slip me $100, I'll give you the tour.
It's strange.
But yeah, Brendan Gleeson, I haven't seen him in a lot, but I always enjoy him when I do see him.
I don't know what it is. He just seems like a likable guy. Let's look at his filmography real fast.
He seems a bit like a character actor where you've probably seen him in a lot of stuff, but if you didn't know who he was, you don't recognize him.
Right. I mean, he has a pretty extensive filmography. Obviously, like he's in the Harry Potter films.
We'll get to the Harry Potter stuff, by the way. There's a bit of a reunion in this.
Voldemort.
There's like 3 or 4 characters involved with Harry Potter here.
Makes sense. And fucking Europeans. Colin Ferrel, he's in one of the newer ones, aren't he?
He plays the villain in the first Fantastic Beasts movie.
Yeah, I've never seen that in theaters and not fucking caring about it at all.
No, it sucked. Me and Liv have actually been rewatching the Harry Potter series for the 50th time of my life.
Yeah.
I don't mind. Like I like them.
Did we do Harry Potter ranked at one point?
We did.
Yeah. What did you have up top? Prisoner of Azkaban?
Yeah, that's by far my favorite. I've had some different opinions this time around.
Really?
I liked Half-Blood Prince a tad bit more than I used to.
Yeah.
And I liked Chamber of Secrets more than I used to.
Chamber of Secrets is pretty good.
I liked Goblet of Fire less this time around.
Oh, man, I can't fucking stand that one.
Really?
I can't stand it. I don't know what it is, but it's the one where I just don't like it.
This time around, I noticed that there's like no progression of like the story. Really, it's like an action movie all the way through. Like,
yeah,
the
like,
tournament.
Yeah, obviously like Voldemort returns, but like
it's all thrown in at the end.
At the end, yeah, it feels like it's so unearned.
Yeah.
Like without a doubt, I still think I was thinking about this the other night. I think Order of the Phoenix is the best one. Like I don't know what it is.
I know you love that one.
But it's like, because it's like the most that where, in that one specifically, like the tone changes so much from the first 4 films. It like transitions completely where it's like, okay, now we're going to turn on the gas where like we've established the story, like Voldemort's bad, he's back, Harry's the chosen one. And then like they turn it on, and that's when where things start to get serious. Kind of hangs in the balance between the darker end of the series and like the lightheartedness.
It has like the most even split.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's just, I don't know what it is. It's the best one for me though.
The reason why I brought up the Harry Potter reunion here is because right after I watched In Bruges, me and Liv started Deathly Hallows Part 1.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed we got Mad-Eyed Moody, Brendan Gleeson, even the love interest in this, Chloe. She's one of the Goblet of Fire contestants.
Yes, she is.
And she marries one of the Weasley brothers in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't remember that.
I forgot about that, yeah.
I don't think she really has any lines in it. She's just kind of there.
Nah.
And then Ray finds Voldemort, Colin Ferrel playing... I don't even remember who his character was in Fantastic Beasts, but he turns into Johnny Depp at the end for some reason. I don't know if you remember that.
What? No, I don't remember that.
It was strange seeing everybody here in this context.
How did you feel about some of the cinematography? Because I think there are like moments where it's like really grounded, and then it turns into like there's like some comic booky, almost like Sin City level of effect use in certain scenes. I don't know if you call it that or not.
Mm-hmm. Give me an example, and maybe it'll ring a bell.
Like when the kid gets the bullet through his head, you know, like there's like this weird.
It's like very staged.
Like half pan around this kid's head, and there's like almost like an animated look to some of the background. Like there's some weird moments in the film. And that's one of them where it feels a little removed from reality, out of camera. Like, obviously, there's some effects going on. And I like that, actually.
You think it adds to, like, the fairy tale?
Yeah, it adds, like a little bit like a hint of, like, Tarantino, Kill Bill. It feels like homage to, like, comic books in a way. I don't know what it is. The special effects, the backgrounds that they're using, they're oversaturated, and
I did notice that.
Yeah, really oversaturated, and I don't know what it is about that, but it's a certain look that looks like, you know, a page out of a comic book. I like it. It adds a level of dirt and grime.
I could see that. At first, I thought you meant like just things weirdly being CGI'd in. There's a couple of scenes where our characters are taking these like boat tours, and then we get these shots of the skyline, and something about the taller buildings felt like they were CGI'd in.
Yeah, they might have been.
Either that or it was like a hazy fog on the day they filmed. Like they felt really removed from the rest of the buildings.
I don't know if I caught really any of that. That might be something I missed.
It's kind of early on. It's not a big deal or anything.
I think the composition is like something I noticed that I really appreciated early on.
A lot of great establishing shots.
Yeah, it's just, as I'm getting older, and obviously my partner, she and I, for some reason, she's taught me how to appreciate certain architecture and fine art. That's definitely a big thing around here. And something about cathedrals and like old buildings, churches,
the
bell
Gothic
towers.
stuff.
Yeah, like there's something about that, like the stuff that's been around, this European.
The stone streets. I want to go to Europe really bad.
Yeah, man. I want to know what they were doing. I want to know what kind of, you know what I mean? I want to know. I want to know their knowledge.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the church establishing shots like focus on statues. Catholicism goes with the theme of the movie to a degree. I think Martin McDonagh kind of slips Catholicism into every film.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I bet Banshees is like
there's a
super
confession.
Catholic.
There's a confession scene in that.
Yeah.
But in terms of the direction, I think I'm 50-50 on it. Like I think a lot of it looks great, and then there's some like muddy moments. Maybe it's like the faster paced stuff towards the end.
Like the dark alley street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things get like too blurry.
Yeah.
I mean, this is his
levels,
debut.
Yeah. The color levels are like the same. I mean, granted, it's significantly less, you know, the budget's not there.
Yeah.
For like, and also I think first and foremost, like film in 2008 was a lot different than it is now. I think one of the things that we're spoiled with in modern film is that directors have the ability to, from start to finish, they can pay homage in any way they want. The creative freedom that we have now.
There's
I feel like
so much more auteur stuff now.
Yeah, everything is so indulgent. I think when this is 2008, cinema is not anywhere close to what it is currently, where probably what even got this film greenlit was probably like it's rooted in like a mafia fucking shootout bullshit that was like very popular of like the 90s and early 2000s.
And I think it was advertised that way too.
Right.
I watched the trailer for this a few days ago, and it was your typical action comedy type thing, which, I mean, how would you advertise this truly, honestly?
Right. It would be like, no one wants to see that. I mean, if you would advertise, I think Banshees kind of got advertised in a similar way.
More as a comedy.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I think that film's a lot more funny than this one. It's a lot more lighthearted, but that film also flips a switch pretty quickly at times where like all of a sudden it's hilarious and then you've got fingers being thrown at your front door.
I think these two are actually equally funny to me, just in different ways. I think this one actually remains funny during the whole runtime, where the third act of Banshees was like just straight depression. I could be misremembering that.
Yeah, it is. I think the third act is a lot stronger in Banshees than this one.
We'll get to it, but yes.
We'll get there.
How did you feel about the reveal of information during the first act? Because I think it kind of leaves the audience out.
Yeah.
You know?
I think the setup for this film is like pretty much perfect. You know, we've talked about dabbling into like a short film and stuff. And when I was watching the film, on that first 10 minutes where it's kind of given to the audience that something happened and we're not going to know for a little bit. And I think something that probably doesn't happen enough in cinema is like very simple setups in a way where it's like, okay, here are your characters. Let's like walk ourselves there very slowly. It's just like your first example of like balance of comedy or like lighter tone and then like immediately like transition into like something serious where it's like playful banter between these two. And it's like, it might have happened because, are you feeling a little off because, and then Colin goes to the bathroom and then like he's standing there, you know, rubbing his head and like sweating his ass off. And like, there's like this level of like, oh, okay, like there's that first like little teeter totter of flipping that switch really quickly. And then also it's the perfect setup and it gives you like an idea of like, okay, this is going to be the balance that we hang in the whole time.
Before that moment, all you can really gather about Colin Farrell's character is that he's a grumpy fucker. Like he just pouts and hates the city and talks shit. That's our main character for the first little bit.
Yeah.
Before you start learning stuff about him. I mean, even up until that point, before you learn what happened, he's like making fun of fat people at the tower.
That shit was fucking amazing.
I meant to say this as soon as we opened, but this is probably the least politically correct film we've ever talked about.
Yeah, I loved it. I fucking loved it because it's like...
It hits all the notes.
Yeah. Racism, fat shaming...
misogyny, homophobia.
Yes.
I don't know what it's called when you make fun of a little person. What is that? Is there a name for it?
I don't know, just being a bigot. I don't know.
I guess so.
It's great. I fucking loved it. And I don't mean it like, finally, the fucking whites will rise again. I'm not, but it's like, it's just like, you know, it's a time capsule in a way. And like, they don't really get made like that anymore. And obviously it's of the times.
This is one of the most blatant in terms of being offensive.
It's like so unapologetic. I love that. You know, like at a certain point, like I'm a grown man. I can take it. Like, you know what I mean? It's not a big deal. Like, I'm not going to think any less of anybody for the film. And it was fucking hilarious. I mean, it was fucking funny. Like, let's be realistic. It's kind of like a breath of fresh air, to be honest with you.
It was. I'm not the type of person to say or even think stuff like this, but hearing these characters be so blunt about these topics adds to the comedy. Like, it's actually insane, some of the things they say here. Especially like Ralph Fiennes later on about South fucking Central Los Angeles or whatever. Right. I don't remember his other films being like this. Like this is so blatant in that regard.
Yeah. You know, and I want to talk about this. In America, I feel like America is so worried about like racism and stuff. But like we as a country, we are so much better than Europe in terms of racism. Racism in Europe is insane. It's because these small-ass countries that have fought each other long before we were here, they have this long-ass fucking history, like the Irish, the Scots, to name a few. There are so many countries, and like most of them fucking hate each other.
Yes.
And we are so much different because the amount of land that we have compared to them, you can go 20 miles and you can meet somebody that fucking hates your guts. Or like in America, there is like maybe 1,000 miles before you're going to like really be removed from your culture in some way. Also, Southern culture where we're located, like Ohio, there's part of that here. There's part of like city, more liberal
versus like rural.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like racism is not as blatant, at least where we're located. It's so much worse there.
And maybe this is a realistic portrayal of that in this film.
Yes, it's strange. All like their like policing systems, your rights change significantly from like country to country, and it's just very strange compared to what we have here.
What is the nationality of our two main characters? Because I think Colin Ferrel is Irish in this.
Yes, I think it both might be.
I just remember them making a comment about Brendan Gleeson going back to London after the job's done.
Maybe.
But they both have like the same accent.
Right.
So a little gray on that.
I don't know. I don't know if I could pinpoint that down. I'm trying to figure out where Ralph Fiennes is from. Because it looks like he was fucking like perched up in fucking Malibu.
I mean, his accent is much more British than the other two. But I think he's supposed to be an Irish gangster.
Really? Okay.
I think.
I loved it.
It's kind of surprising that Ralph Fiennes actually doesn't have much of in terms of the overall runtime, he's not in it that much.
No, he's just a presence felt throughout the first act, I feel like.
I think he shows up almost exactly around the hour mark.
Yeah.
And before that, we hear him on phone calls and narration through letters. But even in voice only, Ralph Fiennes is still goddamn incredible.
I love moments like that. The letters, like the message to like the bed and breakfast. Like, holy shit, man.
Every other word is fuck.
Yeah, man, I liked how unapologetic it was. I really, it's like a culmination of little things that build up into like a grand fuck you, like who gives a shit. And I like that. There isn't a lot of films that I've seen that like carry this tone. It's quite strange. I don't know if I really ever, I don't know if I could pinpoint anything that's even similar to this in terms of like the big middle finger.
Just in terms of offensiveness, bluntness.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I don't know. I want to say like Tarantino to an extent, but even he is like really heightened and it's obvious he's writing scumbag characters and it's like exploitation type stuff. This is an entirely different voice writing wise.
I've been thinking about Tarantino a lot lately. I was thinking about Django like a lot the other night. I just think it might be his best. I think I probably said that on the Tarantino ranked. I think I probably did have it at his.
Yeah, you named it number one.
Yeah,
pretty sure.
But this film reminded me of Django in a way. I don't know why. They're not even like close. They're not even like, they don't even touch each other in any way. But like Tarantino is like probably the only person that like kind of carries, like you just said, like there isn't a whole lot out there. And I'm kind of like shocked that this tone doesn't get carried in like any of his other films in terms of like the crudeness. But I've never seen Seven Psychopaths.
It's not like this. I'll say that. Another person or another group of people I would compare Martin McDonagh's writing style to is like the Coens, just in terms of character reactions or like the way characters interact with each other.
Right.
It's not one-liners that are funny. It's like the use of repetition to attain comedy.
Yeah.
It's usually built upon within a sentence or within a conversation between two characters.
Yeah, it's like the absurdness. I feel like when the characters open their mouths, the dialogue could be cut short so many times, then they just like indulge themselves in a long, drawn out, like bullshit conversation of like bickery. And I kind of like that. It like really fucking dumbs down the characters a lot in a good way.
Cartoonishly.
Yes. And
that's the Coen brothers thing for sure.
For some reason, I like that right now. I feel like a lot of films that we talk about, we always treat them like it's a fucking chess match. We're like, oh, this piece moves here. You know, this gets said. Oh, this is in reference to this. Everything feels like very tight and clean. And we're always trying to like draw connections and create this diagram of like why it works. In this film, it's like, it's funny because it's stupid a lot of the times. Even though it's still smart in many ways, it's also just so crude in its delivery that like you can't really put it on like a huge pedestal. You know what I mean? It's not like you can't like raise this up to like, oh, this is masterclass. You know, show this to your grandma. She'll love it. It's a perfect film. You know what I mean? There's a level of dirt.
I think the way the bluntness of conversations and just overall dialogue here kind of lets you put your guard down for the more tragic, depressing stuff.
Yeah, we haven't even touched that yet. So let's fucking get there.
I mean, our characters, like the only people that act heightened in the film are our three main characters.
Right.
And everybody else is able to bounce off them in a normal way.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point.
Mostly, except for maybe the Canadian guy.
The love interest, there's a level of absurdness to her as well.
Yeah.
Her forgivingness, like immediately, like the reluctance of questioning involved with her, like it's very concerning.
I don't know if I buy this character much.
No.
I don't know how much she adds to the film overall, except to like get moving pieces from one place to the next.
Yeah, I think she kind of acts as a level of innocence and to some degree for Colin Farrell's character. We'll get there.
The only thing I can really think of is she's there to add a glimmer of hope for Colin Farrell's future.
Right.
Where he might have something afterwards if he lives in the end. But outside of that, she's not much of a character.
No.
I mean, she's not perfect. She robs tourists.
Yeah.
Sells
heroin.
Sells drugs to actors.
Yeah.
To our little person character,
Ketamine. Yeah, he's on horse tranquilizers. Yeah, it's fun. It's strange to like hear about like ketamine, you know, like from 2008. I feel like ketamine has like become more like a modern drug. Like
it has.
But I also think like obviously like I think ketamine started more in Europe before it made its way to the States. So I mean it kind of makes sense. Also like Europe's drug use is like very similar to America. Like we're not that different. Like there's like opiates and you know all kinds of shit going on over there. Like they have like a K2 crisis over in some of those countries. Like that's still a thing.
K2, like the gas station weed?
There's like people that like are addicted to that over there still.
Oh.
Yeah. Like that stuff doesn't get sold anymore here from what I can tell.
I thought that everybody agreed it sucked and just moved on.
Yeah, but like there's still people that do it over there.
Do you have like certain favorite moments in the film? Scenes that you love specifically?
I mean, I really liked when he kills the priest, but I like it for really one reason and one reason only. It's like something about the way he kills him shows his incompetence a little bit. Like, I'm going to get you right here on the side. Like, classic.
Like, the window's right there. You can see his head.
Yeah. Something about the way Colin acts through this. There's incompetence. I don't know what it is. It's hard to do. I feel like it would be hard to make your character look like an idiot.
And, like, still be likable? Is he likable?
No. I mean, like, I just, like, didn't question... Up until this point, he feels like an idiot, and it's like, okay, well, like, let's show him actually, like, doing something of substance, and it is that. His character is embodied through this murder, and I'm like, yes.
That's a great point.
I'm like, yes, this is right. I'm like, it feels good in the worst way to know that, okay, Colin can act. I don't know why, but I think that's probably my favorite moment for that reason, and that reason only, because I think it's, like, a very serious moment in the film, but for some reason it feels like it's the most well acted for me, because... A lot of the other stuff is like over the top. There's a level of fucking banter, cheapened action and stuff, like stuff that you can like just kind of like whatever. But like for some reason this feels like, important.
Up until this point in the film, all we've seen of him is him being moody. He gets chased by a fat guy trying to punch him.
Yeah,
and
that's
like
great.
Our big reveal comes shortly after that.
Right.
I want to single out Colin Ferrel. I think he's starting to get his dues now with his performance in Banshees of Inisherin. And like being Penguin in the Batman movie.
It's fucking crazy.
This man is highly underrated.
Yeah, he is.
I think early on in his career, Colin Farrell is a good looking guy.
Yeah, he's a handsome feller.
He looks like a leading man, but he's much better in these like quirky roles.
Right.
Like, he's not nearly as interesting as like stoic main character. Like he needs to be goofy, pathetic.
Right.
Something weird has to be going on within the character. That's where he shines. For me.
God, it's so weird that he's the Penguin. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't at all.
Like, and they're doing a Penguin show that's going to come out next year. Soon.
Is it him?
Yes, like he's playing the Penguin.
Thank
like
God.
they're doing a spin-off series for Max, and he's playing that.
I'd forgotten about that. But yes, Colin Farrell, amazing in this. I actually want to point out a specific scene that's my favorite, where Brendan Gleeson is gonna assassinate Colin Farrell. And they have this brief moment on the playground.
Yeah, man.
There's something about Colin Farrell's delivery during the scene where he's like through tears. He actually comes across like pathetic, sad. I feel bad for him, but then his dialogue also makes me laugh.
Right.
He's like, I'm having a terrible day. I'm suicidal. My friend tried to kill me. You nicked my gun, and I'm still in fucking Bruges.
You know, speaking of suicidal, like my favorite fucking, like one of my favorite lines in the film is with Ralph Fiennes and Brendan Gleeson in the bar, and he's like, "We're all fucking suicidal." Like, I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. I'm like, you fucking said it, motherfucker. Shit. That was some funny shit, man.
There's so many quotables.
Yeah,
in
like
this movie. Retract the bit about my cunt fucking kids.
Yeah, man. You know, I actually like his character a lot. I really think in the end, I'm like, yeah. When we arrive there, we'll talk about it. But I think there's a certain level of like finality to many of these characters where I feel like really good about. Like, I'm like, yes, like, you know, I didn't know how it was going to end. I assumed it was going to be in tragedy. Like, you know, the way we arrived there, I'm really excited to talk about that. Piss break. Yeah, so what are we drinking?
Maker's Mark French Oak. I had my headphones off for a second. I wasn't aware that we were recording again.
Yeah, I threw a little bit of simple syrup in there, kind of softened it up. It's pretty good by itself, by the way. It's very sharp, but...
Damn, that's so good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Got a lot of bourbon to get through, so...
I want to talk about how, in my opinion, this might be one of the tightest scripts. Maybe not of all time, but maybe within this like crime comedy genre. I was thinking about The Nice Guys a lot. I think you brought it up when I recommended it on the last episode. I love The Nice Guys. I think it's a great film, but I never remember much about the actual beat by beat plot of The Nice Guys. It's like, what was that about again? Like, I just think about the banter of Russell Crowe, Ryan Gosling.
Right.
That's why the movie's great to me. This film has that banter between two leads, but I actually think there are many like setups and payoffs throughout the film.
Yeah.
Like, there's not really a wasted moment. Even like small asinine things are brought up later. Even if it's not important, it'll be used as like a comedy line, a throwaway. The American having a heart attack going up the tower, and that's why it's closed.
The boyfriend that gets his fucking eye blinded, that was rough. That was fucking rough.
Was it?
Yeah, his fucking eye is bursting out of his head.
He had it fucking coming to him.
Yeah, he did.
He was being a poof, according to Harry.
A poof.
Why rob somebody with a blank?
Right.
That's kind of silly. I wish I'd written down some of these setups and payoffs, because literally everything is used in some way, or it's used to subvert your expectations. For example, early in the film, when Brendan Gleeson goes up in the tower and he's looking over the plaza and he like extends his arm in a, he does the handguns thing and pretends to shoot Colin Ferrel. Well, when he's back up there again later, we know that he's taken Colin Farrell's gun in the playground scene. So he's trying to stop Harry from catching up to Colin Ferrel, and you think you're going to have his like sniper moment.
Yeah.
But the fog,
Bro.
like they bring up the fog earlier in the film too, and that's what stops him from being able to make the shot, and that's why he jumps instead. It's a callback and like kind of a half payoff, but then it goes against expectations at the same time. Like there's little moments like that all throughout the film.
That's a rough moment.
Oh yeah, it is.
His fucking arm just like, dude,
He
I thought they were
explodes.
going to fucking just gonna like let him die. No, Colin's gotta run up to him and you gotta see his fucking body all. It's fucking terrible. It's so terrible. I'm like, no, I don't want to see this. It's fucking awful.
This is such a heightened moment too.
Oh my god.
He's been shot in the jugular and fallen
He's been shot in the leg.
fallen 200 feet, but they still give him like his monologue dying moment.
Yes.
Where he gets to say, well, I'm dying, I think.
Oh, dude, it was fucking rough.
It is rough.
It's fucking rough. And like they leave the fucking arm in the frame. Like, I know it's a movie, but like, God, dude, I'm like scarred a little bit from that shit. Because like when he jumps. No! You're right. He fucking explodes.
I'm somebody that can take violence in movies pretty well, but even that,
Oh my god.
because I actually really love his character.
Oh, yeah, me too.
He feels like a true golden-hearted character, even though he is a man that kills people. But then seeing that happen to him like, breaks my heart.
I don't know. It makes my stomach hurt really more than it breaks my heart. Jesus.
Oh, another thing with like the payoffs or setups and payoffs. Early in the film, he tries to get rid of his coins by paying all coins.
I love that.
And then getting rejected lets him be able to use the coins to stop people from walking underneath so that when he jumps, he doesn't hurt anybody.
Right. That was good.
Small things like that. There's a lot of that here.
Oh, sorry. I'm just trying to sorry.
Is that part of the film that you watched today?
Yes. I watched the last 30 minutes today. Dude, rough. Sorry.
It is.
There's a lot.
I'm sorry I subjected you to it.
I was like, get her, you motherfucker. When I was watching, I was like, fuck, get her, you bastard.
At this point, you should expect it.
You fucking bastard. I thought this was going to be hilarious. I'm like, this is not funny. This is awful.
I think it's a funny movie.
It is funny at times. I thought it's not my girlfriend. She's a prostitute.
I love Ray's line to them when he says, why didn't you wave hello to me today when I waved hello to you today?
Right.
That's a really weird thing to write in.
Right. The Vietnamese. What's that got to do with it? Yeah. The fucking Canadian. I love that.
The Canadian at the restaurant.
Mm-hmm. The bottle. That's another moment where it was in self-defense. She had a bottle.
Ken brings it up earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had to kill a lady because she was going to swing a bottle at him.
That scene feels really weird in the moment until later where that guy is used as the reason why Colin Ferrel gets sent back to Bruges.
Right.
I assume, this isn't explicitly said, but there's a lot of anti-American sentiment in this movie. Europeans don't like Americans being tourists in their country.
Right.
Typical loud American, that kind of stuff is said a few times. And I think Colin Ferrel assumes this guy is American. And if he was, the authorities would have let it slide.
Right.
But when they say he's Canadian on the train, that's why he gets sent back.
Fuck yeah.
Because people like Canadians.
Right.
Apparently.
I feel like Canadians were cool at one point until the last 4 years.
It's not really brought up anymore.
People just hate Justin Trudeau a lot.
Yeah.
At least Americans hate Justin Trudeau.
I don't know much about the fucking guy.
He's weird.
Is he?
Weird.
I knew he did blackface one time.
Yeah. You should bring that back. They should bring back blackface, by the way. I think it's to the point now where everybody's like, blackface is bad, but I think it would just be funny if somebody just is like, let's bring it back, You
mean a serious attempt to disguise a white actor in a film?
Yes.
And act like nothing's going on?
Yes. That would be fucking amazing.
Remember Tuco from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly?
Yes.
He's a Mexican character.
Yes.
He's clearly played by a white man.
Yes.
And they just threw dirt on his face.
Classic.
Hollywood, baby.
You can blame the Italians on that one, not the Americans.
Children is a big theme in this film.
Yeah.
And I want to know your thoughts on this in terms of Colin Farrell's character and his behavior. Because when Ken and Harry refer to him as Ray, they always call him the kid.
The kid.
The boy.
The boy.
He's probably in his 30s when he portrayed this role. But I think that use of language is very deliberate here. Where
for sure.
There's something about
Thematically,
lost innocence or something going on here.
I think the part of that is it's even smaller in terms of the way Ray finds his character, the way he treats his family and his children.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My God, fucking kids.
I'm sorry for calling you an inanimate fucking object.
Yes.
I love that line.
I was upset. Classic.
But in terms of the way Ray acts in this, he's a very childlike character.
He sticks to his principles, though. I'll give him that. There's a weird balance that he's teetering on where it's okay, he's got to have his morals in order. That kind of separates him in a professional way compared to Colin and Gleeson, where they're kind of fucking idiots. They fuck it up the whole time.
Does Brendan Gleeson fuck it up?
Yeah, he gives in. He gives in to the fucking tourist attitude.
Oh, yeah. He's an old soul. He loves this old shit.
It's the blood of fucking Jesus Christ. He's you don't have to touch it.
I think Colin Farrell is blatantly written like a 10-year-old.
Yes.
Though. When he sees them filming a movie, he's like, oh, look, midgets. And that's enough to excite him.
Right. Yeah.
And Brendan Gleeson's not quite like that.
No, not at all. It's strange that you say that because it is very similar to Banshees in that way.
Because he's a bit of a town idiot in that one.
Ah, man. What a weird movie.
This one or that one? Yes.
Both. Yes. Correct.
Did you detect a meta element within this at all?
Not really.
I feel like there's a few lines. It's not super in your face in this one. Seven Psychopaths is ultra meta. It's
Really?
about a screenwriter.
Oh, okay.
In this one, there are certain lines that perk my ears up. Like when he meets Chloe for the first time and she says, yeah, I sell drugs to the characters in the movie. Or like I give drugs to the characters in the movie. Mm-hmm. And like that literally what happens later on. When Ralph Fiennes is chasing Colin Ferrel up to the hotel, he makes a comment to the innkeeper and says, what do you mean this is the shootout? Yeah. Like this is the expected thing in the film at this time.
And she's like, what the fuck did you just say?
And like the film within a film thing. Mm-hmm. I think McDonagh was kind of playing with this idea a little bit. Not a ton. But I think it's interesting that it's there to a small degree. Are you okay?
Yeah. This movie like did some weird things to me.
It's a strange film.
Yeah.
Even now.
Yeah, I know. Like even now, like 15 years later, where it's like, oh yeah, like this seems like something that came out like yesterday.
It does.
In some way. I feel like for me specifically with this movie, I think one of the big things was like, you know, the religious aspect of like, you know, Catholicism and this innocence. I'm pretty sure the priest that they kill, like they kill him because he's a rapist.
I assume so.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then like also his kid gets killed. I assume that's his child.
It's hard to say.
Right.
There's not much context here.
That fucked me up a little bit.
You don't see child death in films very often.
No, not to like this extent either.
And this was treated in a very highly stylized way when it happens too.
Yeah, that's one of the things I was talking about earlier where it's like, oh man, it's
emotionally distanced from what's going on screen.
Yeah.
Did you think anything of the card that the boy was holding?
With a note?
His confession note, where I think it said his 3 sins were being sad, being bad at maths, and being moody.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a thematic tie-in here, where obviously Colin Ferrel is sad and moody. Is there a point where anybody's bad at math?
I don't think so.
I mean, Brendan Gleeson trying to pay in coins and doesn't have enough.
Do you enjoy your work? Yeah.
I didn't catch any other examples of that, though.
No.
What'd you think of the guns dealer guy, Yuri? This is a weird side character.
He kind of just felt like a normal-ass dude, to be honest with you.
He really wants to use the word alcoves correctly.
Yeah, like that's another thing.
You know this word, alcoves? Like he says it to both Harry and
There's
Ken.
A lot of moments in the film like that where like a character will go on about something that's completely unrelated. It kind of like brain melts you. You're like,
this what are they going on about?
Yeah, like this doesn't make sense. Stop talking.
Nooks and crannies.
Not to mention like the heavy accent. I like watched this film with subtitles, and even I was like, that's not what they said.
You have to watch it with subtitles. Yeah. Banshees was the same way. Mm-hmm. Maybe even more so with that one.
There were moments where I was thinking like, I don't know that this film is fully in English at times. Like the accents were so heavy.
I think it is directed to appeal to a European crowd. This style of humor doesn't translate great to American audiences.
No, not really.
I like the dark, dry shit like this, but not everybody finds it funny. Maybe dry is the wrong word. Yeah. There's a lot of cartoony stuff too.
Yeah, like there's some dry shit like in Boondocks that's like very similar, and also like that's an Irish Catholic film, like heavily influenced. I was thinking about this today too when I was drawing. I was listening to some movie soundtracks, and like Manchester by the Sea came on, and I'm like, man, I really like there's something about Catholicism that just like gets littered in with tragedy. Like there's something there.
Always.
It's never like happy. Like Catholicism is like, are you depressed? Come to Catholic Church. It's like, what the fuck is going on? It's strange. When watching the film though, I felt very weird about religion. I found it very interesting, the confession. Like, I find confession very interesting, where you can, like, basically confess a crime or really anything.
The priest has to keep it anonymous.
Yeah.
Or do they? Is there a law? It's not the same with, like, HIPAA, like a therapist or something.
No. I don't think so. I don't know.
Like, do all the priests get together and, like, shit talk about, like, the sins?
I had this fat motherfucker come in and tell me, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is there a convention of some sort?
I don't know. I find that aspect of society, like, quite interesting, where, you know, somebody has to bear the weight of that sin. Nothing may come of it. I mean, not report it to the authorities or anything or whatever. And I find it quite strange that exists for some reason.
Is Catholicism the only religion that involves confessional in this way?
Yeah, for the most part.
Where it's not,
I would say,
between you and God.
Right.
Like there's a middleman. I don't know of any, but I was curious if that's a thing that exists anywhere else.
I don't know. I mean, I've only ever been to like non-denominational churches. I don't think like Baptist or anything do anything like confessional. Confessional is like very private. I also like find it interesting. Like Catholicism is like very linked to like mafia, and there's always like Catholicism is portrayed in a mafia way with John Wick. Like there's churches that are like fronts for like storehouses. And
is it just because like the visuals look better than like any other religion?
I mean, do you think the Vatican doesn't like fuck with money? I don't know. I think corruption goes to the highest in the land, like no matter where you're at. Always. I think it's find it quite disheartening in some way to know that that's a thing. But
what's the saying? Like absolute power
corrupts absolutely.
Yeah.
Measure of man is what he does with power. I just find it interesting. It's a very depressing movie. We're kind of getting into it, but I don't know. I think something about the tone of this film. It reminds me of like Manchester by the Sea if it was trying to be funny in some way.
Were there any scenes that just didn't work for you? I have one, but I'm curious what you think.
Not really. I feel like the third act isn't like super strong in some ways. Like I think like Ray chasing Colin, like him getting gassed out. It's not like your normal James Bond where everybody has like unlimited endurance.
Yeah, it's played a bit more straight.
Yeah, I actually kind of like that. You know, it's like more realistic in that way. Like while watching the film, I was thinking about like Inception, that chase scene wherever the fuck they're at, Morocco. Mombasa, yeah. I was thinking about that, and I'm thinking about like James Bond and like, you know, with Daniel Craig and all that. I'm like, oh yeah, like people get fucking tired. They don't ever show that. And like, I remember when like DiCaprio's squeezing through the fucking wall, and I'm like, motherfucker, you would be like, you get caught right there in the middle.
I mean, Ralph Fiennes is a somewhat old guy.
Yeah, you know, quite handsome, I will say.
He's looking good here.
He's looking good. He looks like a fucking cunt, that's for sure. You know?
Is like the subversion of the action hitman genre cliche, is that why the third act isn't working for you? Like it feels weird. Like, I'm waiting for a certain type of scene and it never arrives.
It never arrives, right. It's the shootout, but like it always feels like it's subverted in a way.
Our main antagonist takes himself out, you know?
Yeah.
There's like no heroic action on Colin Farrell's part.
No. You got to stick to your principles.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed that a lot. Like, I thought that was a really great cap. I'm like, fuck yeah. It makes sense. It made sense for the film. I feel like that's probably like the only way it could end. And I think it's hilarious that he like thinks it's a little boy.
And it's set up with the exploding bullets, like the exploding head bullets.
Yep.
He even says like, I know I shouldn't do this, but I'm going to. And that fucks him in the end. When I said there was a scene that wasn't working for me, this relates to this final scene. When Ray goes back to the hotel with our little person character and they're doing drugs together.
That's a weird one.
I didn't find that there was much of substance here. No. The only thing I can think of is the scene is here to make you feel less bad when the little person character is killed later. Like doing the race war argument.
Yeah, that was weird.
It's like this guy's a shithead. And then when he dies later, you don't feel as bad.
Right. There wasn't like a true level of innocence with him.
Yeah. But not much else is set up in that scene.
No, not really. I think it shows like Ken, like he's like, oh, he had a wife at one point, you know. And like, that's a little bit of background information on him.
What is it he says? Like he was married to a black woman?
Mm-hmm.
That's the same trait that's carried over to Christopher Walken's character in Seven Psychopaths.
Oh, really?
And that's like a big plot point in that one. Which makes me wonder, is Martin McDonagh married to a black woman?
I don't know.
Like it feels weird, 2 films in a row.
I'm gonna try to find out. No, he is not. I don't believe.
I'm intrigued by this guy to a degree.
He's married to Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
No shit. She was the creator of the HBO show Fleabag, which I loved.
She was in Indiana Jones, the newest one.
Did you see that?
No, I have no desire.
Me neither.
You know, that was one thing that's been nice to like separate myself from. Dude, like when stuff like that comes out, we have like the fucking Today Show on at work and stuff, like throughout the day, like in the waiting area and stuff. And like they're always talking about like big blockbuster movies and shit. And I'm like, nobody's fucking cares.
No.
Nobody fucking gives a shit.
It's boring.
I realized slowly but surely, like everything is fucking advertising.
What are our big blockbusters this year? Everything flopped.
Yeah.
Even Mission Impossible didn't make money.
Yeah.
Oppenheimer and Barbie laughed their ways to the bank.
Yeah, that was different though. Those movies were special for their own reason.
Yeah.
They're special.
They're really good.
They were special for like like they both were like fucking great for a reason. It wasn't just like a fucking cash grab. Barbie was like, they literally shitted all over like corporate America.
Yeah.
Like the brand itself.
Its own brand.
It doesn't make any fucking sense.
I would bet Barbie sales went up considerably afterward, though.
I'm sure. I mean, like, I'm fucking hyped. Like, Dune is coming out, like, in March. Like,
that's different.
It is different, though.
That's like a great director.
I don't know, man. Like, a blockbuster that I cared about was, like, fucking Top Gun. I went and watched that film by myself in IMAX, and it was fucking amazing. And, like, it felt good.
Have we ever really talked about Top Gun?
We talked about it briefly, like, in...
I saw it.
Yeah.
Eventually, like, way later.
We talked about it last year at our end of year list.
Yeah. It was good.
Yeah.
I liked it.
It's fucking incredible. It's a classic setup with a modern budget and style, and like
the third act in that one was something else.
Yeah, I didn't like walk away from it being like, oh, that was a masterpiece. I'm gonna fucking show my children this movie. But like, it was special for like other reasons.
It really shouldn't have worked.
No.
When it was announced, I bet there was millions of groans around the world.
Yeah, me.
Same. I don't even like the first Top Gun.
It's weird. Super homoerotic.
It is.
You can ride my tail. You ever seen that bit with fucking Tarantino? Ever shown you that?
Where he talks about Top Gun? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the best.
He has a great point, too.
Yes, it's perfect. I mean, it makes sense.
You know, I've been seeing ads for like a new Ghostbusters movie, and I just can't.
I don't fucking care.
I couldn't feel more cynical about it.
Yeah. Some things need to be left to die.
There should be one Ghostbusters film. The first one's the only good one.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, back to the film at hand. I don't know. I feel like maybe it fits really weird, like in my brain, where I don't really know if I like it in a way where, and I don't even mean like it's a bad movie at all. Like, I just don't know that like it's really for me at the end of the day, but like I respected it on a lot of fronts.
I saw that coming to a degree.
But I'll probably never watch this ever again. Like, truly. Like, I don't think I have any desire to ever see this again.
I have many rewatches in my future.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's fucking crazy to me. Crazy that you're like that. Like, I'll watch a man fucking jump from a building again.
I just love the script in this, and the dialogue, and the acting. I don't know if I have much more to add.
I feel like the movie does a lot with, like, very little. Like, I mean, like, truly, it's a very simple plot where it's like, it's a job gone bad.
We have to burn the hitman that fucked up, basically.
Yes. You gotta cut your ties. But then, like, at the same time, it becomes something a little bit more interesting. This easily could have been a fucking John Wick, like, type of script. And, like, this could get made now. And that's the format that it would be. That's what it would be shipped as now. So, you know.
We'd have goons to mow down and kill. Ralph Fiennes wouldn't show up in Belgium by himself.
Yes, there would be no civilians in sight. Like,
yeah.
All of a sudden, everybody would disappear.
There were no police in this movie, from what I remember.
Very, like, unless he's on the train coming to get Colin.
And he gets bagged by, like, the conductor or, like, the guy that checks your tickets. I don't think it's a cop, which I found kind of odd. One more thing before we dip out. I saw an interesting theory that Bruges is basically purgatory, and the entire film is...
They gotta come to face with their sins.
Hedges on if they can redeem themselves, which I think in a way all three of them kind of do.
Ray abides by his principles.
He saves the pregnant woman at the hotel, and that's his way of saving a child. Ken saves Ray, and I guess Harry thinks he's redeeming himself because he thinks he's killed a child, but he really hasn't. But he does stick to his principles.
I think it's gonna fuck up the listener, but like we've referred to like Ray Fiennes as Ray, but not Harry many a times.
Have we?
Yes, many a times. So like,
fuck. You guys can sort it out.
Yeah, fuck it.
I don't know if there's much credence to the purgatory thing.
Right.
They talk about purgatory when they go to the museum and the Judgment Day scene. I think it's there.
Yeah, that fucked me up too, by the way.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like, don't talk to me about the fucking don't talk to me about the day the Lord comes back.
It is a freaky concept.
Yeah. I can't wait.
Even as a not much of a religious man, I don't say non-religious anymore. I'm open-ended more now than I used to be. But it scares me still, the idea that that could be a thing.
It's a weird movie.
Very weird movie.
Weird movie. I'd give it like a solid 8. That's just like me being like, I respect it. I think you're going to think much highly of it. Like, I imagine you're going to give it a 9, at least.
I was going with a strong 9 on this one. Is it just the disturbing aspects, like the bleakness?
Yeah, it's that's probably what it's doing for me the most, where it's like I kind of want to step away from it a little bit. Like I want to like, it's hard to be like, I'm in love with this tragedy, you know?
That's more my thing.
That's hard.
And I found this film way funnier than you did, I think.
Yeah, and I think like one of the reasons why I think I like Manchester more than like that is a fucking bleak movie. But I think that movie is it's bleak in a way where it's not as disturbing. There's kind of a through line on that one. This one it's like disturbing and funny, and so like it kind of rubs me the wrong way in that aspect.
I think the unique voice writing wise is kind of what I love about Martin McDonagh.
Right.
This is a crazy tone to achieve.
It is. And it's respectful. Like, you know, you have to like give credit where credit's due.
So you like Banshees a lot more than this one. Most
Oh,
likely.
for sure. Yeah.
I like them for different reasons.
Yeah,
but
like that movie like is also a lot more beautiful than this one. Like there are other things in that film that are working.
I agree with that.
And set and setting are completely different and yada yada. Chemistry and like on screen, it's like fucking incredible in both. Like they're both like incredibly well acted films, like without a doubt.
I want to see this duo together forever.
Yeah. They have to do another, right?
Bring Ralph Fiennes back.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
You should throw in all the regulars, like throw in Sam Rockwell and Woody Harrelson too.
Yeah.
I want to see all these characters together. I'm glad you saw it, and I'm glad you respect it.
Yes.
I knew that you would feel some resistance on certain elements.
You always do this to me.
I do.
But you know, that's the thing though. I would never seek it and like you make me do it. So it's like, okay.
This is the podcast.
It's part of it, but it's like without you, I would be blind.
Sure.
To certain things.
Yeah.
And it's good because like now it'll be like, oh yeah, you know, that's reminded me of In Bruges, like this action scene, or like, oh, this tone, or set and setting. It can be anything like that. So it's always one for the catalog.
Piss break.
Brother.
Austin,
Brother.
I feel like I have an idea of where you're going.
Brother.
But I'm going to let you do your thing.
Brother.
Tell me what we're doing next, homie.
Brother. My brother in Christ. We're going places. Going somewhere we've been meaning to stop for a while. And I'm excited because I feel like this movie is going to be fun. At work, Darren, a gentleman that I've had the pleasure of working with here recently, him and I have had some good conversations about movies and all that good stuff. And he kind of respects my hippie vibe. And we've gotten to talk a few times. And I recently had COVID. And this is a film that he said, you got to watch. And while I was sick on the couch, I decided this is going to be my morning. And I'm ready to talk about The Big Lebowski.
Damn, you're bringing Cohen's back.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I talked about it. He said, you mentioned the Coens earlier. And I'm like, fuck yeah, we're going here. So we're not too far off in terms of like awkwardness and weird dialogue. But I've never laughed so hard
I love
in
this
a while.
movie.
It's a fucking league game. Like, it's a league game, Smokey.
The Coens were coming again soon on my half.
Yeah.
Not this film, something else. But
Yeah.
I'm going to have to hold that back now.
I feel like The Big Lebowski is something that like I've needed to know about for a long time. It's like I've been blind on it for a while. It's a thing in pop culture where I'm like, it's a cult classic. I need to see it. Everybody references the dude. And I'm the dude. And I feel like I have a reputation at work for being a little bit of the dude sometimes.
So you watched this already?
Yes.
While sick?
Yes. And I think it'll be even better when I'm healthy. So we're going to have fun with it. I'm excited.
I saw this for the first time just last year, actually. It was one of the last Coen movies that I got to somehow, even though it's one of their most famous. I'm glad that we get to see this other side of them. We talked about Fargo years ago. That's like their crime comedy.
God, that was years ago now, wasn't it?
It was.
What the fuck?
At least 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of like more my lane, the dark comedy, violence meets incompetence. And this is going to be just an all-around a good time.
Yeah.
It's going to make me want to start a bowling league.
Yeah. You're telling me, dude. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, fuck yeah, man. Great recommendation.
Get her. We did it again. If you could do me the honors.
Adios.